Was Noah supposed to be the antagonist of Total Drama Island? Let's talk about that. Shout out to my boys Rhett and Link, but for real, Noah being an antagonist would be interesting. I can't imagine seeing my sarcastic boy doing anything other than being my sarcastic boy. It'd be really interesting to see him actually doing something related to strategy, rather than just being satirical and making fun of everybody. I think it would have been interesting, but as a whole, I don't really know how it would have benefited or dampened his character at all. It's one of those things that you don't really know how it would have played out unless it happened, you know? There's not really too much you could say about it. It's hard to predict something like this, and I don't really know how it would have went. It could have went great, it could have went horrible, but it would have been interesting to see, because with Noah being the main antagonist of Total Drama Island, where would that leave Heather? She could just be the stuck-up girl, or she could have been an antagonist too. I don't really know how it would have worked. There's too many different probabilities and everything going on here. A lot of other mathematical terms, but as a whole, there's just too many different outcomes that could occur because of this big switch in the Total Drama franchise. This theory originates from the fact that Noah is labeled the schemer on the Total Drama wiki, and I know anybody can edit the wiki, but this has been Noah's title for quite some time now, and I don't really think that this is the type of thing that people would just screw up and make up. I think that it's legit. It's very strange that he is labeled the schemer just because he's never really schemed. That leads people to believe that Noah was originally planned to be the main antagonist of Total Drama Island, or at least somebody who had a lot to do with the strategy portion of the show. And it's just funny to think about this because Noah would never seem like the type of guy to care enough to do strategy. It's just funny to think about something like this because Noah doesn't really seem like the guy to care enough to do something strategical. You know, like he has his comments here and there. He said that thing about Alejandro and World Tour, but as a whole, he hasn't really done anything. I don't really know how I feel about him being an antagonist. I definitely wouldn't like it nowadays, like for a new season, but I think it'd be cool to have him be strategical, just not necessarily the antagonistic part, because he serves more as an anti-hero, and I think he works better that way. I can already see an antagonist run with Noah where he would end up being a nice guy at the end, and it'd just be cliche, and it just would not be entertaining. I am still stuck on the idea of Noah being like a mean bad guy, you know, because like, yeah, he's satirical and that can come off as rude, but as a whole, I don't think he's necessarily a mean person, so I think it is funny to think of him in that way. And like I mentioned before, there's just so many different outcomes to occur because of this big change in the storyline and just the show in general, so it is hard to say how I think this will play out just because there's just so many different options. This is something that a lot of people have discussed throughout the years, though, because Noah's been labeled the schemer forever, and he hasn't done anything at all to be considered a schemer. This was just his label for Total Drama Island. It was changed after those seasons, but still, this was his label for Total Drama Island, so they had plans for him. What I'm thinking happened was they wanted him to be a strategical character, but then realized in the long run that that wouldn't benefit him, or maybe they had different ideas with him, or they just couldn't fit him on the placement. They wanted other people to go farther, so they decided to make him an early boot, and then give him that satirical run down the road. Again, it's hard to say how I think this played out. I don't really know why they did this or why they changed it. I would love to get in contact with somebody who worked on Total Drama Island and see what happened, but I don't really know if they would be interested. It just depends. It'd be something that I would have to see if I could arrange, but as a whole, I think that it would be cool to see somebody give their opinions on this, and maybe I could ask some other cast members. I don't really know. That'll have to be a follow-up video for sure, but as a whole, this is a very interesting theory, and I think it does hold itself. He was labeled a schemer, and they wouldn't give that label to just anybody, especially somebody who did not scheme at all in Total Drama Island. They just kind of planted seeds here and there of him and Owen's great friendship, but as a whole, he didn't really do too much in Island, so it does make sense that this was a bigger planned plot, but it just fell through. There aren't too many Total Drama theories out there, but I do love this kind of theory, and actually, a YouTuber known as The Theorizer has been talking about Total Drama recently, and I really love what he's doing over there. He's talking about Chris being psycho, and he actually mentioned Izzy being crazy and everything like that, and as a whole, his videos are very in-depth, and I really enjoy them, and he knows what he's talking about, and it's really refreshing to see that. He's not just using the Total Drama name for clickbait on YouTube, he's actually using it because he wants to discuss something, and he's doing well, and it's paying off for him, and I love it. So yeah, check that guy out for sure, but as a whole, I don't really know what else to say about this theory. I definitely think it holds its own, and I really do like this theory. It would have been interesting to see Noah be in an antagonistic and strategical point of his career as a character, I guess that you can call it that, but again, it's very unlikely that this would happen anymore. It would be very weird for them to all of a sudden be like, you know what? Let's go back on this original idea and make Noah an antagonist nowadays, just because he's huge with the fans, and it would be kind of like WWE pulling a fast one on us and making one of our favorite characters, or our favorite superstars, whatever you want to call them, one of our favorite people turn heel. It just wouldn't make sense, and it would be bad marketing, and overall it would just not be good for Noah's character. It'd kind of be like whenever Daniel Bryan turned heel and joined the Wyatt family in that really weird storyline that you knew he was going to turn good again. It was just a matter of time, and how long are they really going to draw out this horrible storyline? And they brought him back. People popped for it. It was great, but that's not what's going to happen for Noah. This isn't like the WWE. You can't just turn people good and bad all of the time and people just be like, yeah, it's a part of the business. That's not really something that happens in this show, and if they turn good, they usually stay that way. And you have characters like Dave who turn crazy, and he's probably going to stay crazy forever, but you know what? It's the name of the game. That's how they write these characters. Some of the characters just end up that way, you know? It's up to the writers. It's unfortunate for Dave's fans because, you know, he was not the worst character on the show, and now he's not one of the best by any means. The dude's stuck on the island with RoboCop Jr. He has no hair. He's going crazy over a chick that's not even worth it. It's just not good for old Davey boy. That's for a different video though. Back to Noah, it just wouldn't make sense for them to do something like this just because, like I said, he's already at a good standing in terms of writing, and his fan base is growing tremendously. I've been a fan of him for a long time, and it's just honestly awesome to see all of the people gathering around his character and really enjoying him. It's always fun to see something that you love finally get the love that it deserves, and Noah's one of those things, and it's just really cool to see all of the fans for him, and I just feel like they would screw that up if they did something like that, a route where they would make him an antagonist. It's definitely something that should be done from the start, and it's not something that can be done anymore. I think it'd be cool if they did something with Noah where he used a lot of strategy, because he's always been the smart guy and he knows what's going on, but he's never made the effort to really do anything about it, and I feel like it would be really cool to see him do that. I feel like they don't want to do that just because of Noah's intelligence, and they don't want him to necessarily have a big role in that kind of department and like winner material role. Even though I think that'd be awesome for Noah to win a season, I just don't see it happening just because of reasons like that. I don't think Fresh would ever write him in the way that could make him a potential winner. Redonkulous Race was probably his best bet, but being partnered with Owen was obviously the worst thing to happen for him, just because they're not going to do a double winner and everything like that. But a strategical, schemey kind of thing would be interesting, but instead of calling him the strategist, they call him the schemer, which assumes that he is not a good guy. It would make him turn into an antagonist. And overall, like I said, it's just not something that would be good for his character. I would love to see Noah do well, and I think it really would be awesome to see him have a strategical run, but like I just said, you know, with him being called a schemer, it's not going to be anything positive probably, and I don't really know how it would play out, but as a whole, I just feel like it would do more bad things to his character than it would be good, just because of the thing that I brought up again about WWE, how they can turn people bad and good all the time, but for Noah, you can't really do that. Going back to the start of the video where I mentioned how I wonder where Heather would be at this point, that's another thing that I feel like kind of draws this theory away from why it didn't happen, because I definitely think that this theory holds its own. I feel like he genuinely was planned to be the main antagonist, or at least somebody in a high strategical winner material kind of position. So to see him be third eliminated in that season is really shocking, given the fact that he was called the schemer. You know, this theory could fall through and they just didn't have anything to label him, but you know, the bookworm was the obvious one, but I think that they gave that to Cameron. But I feel like there is a reason why he is called the schemer, and I think it is this theory. I mean, the theory makes sense. It's not super far-fetched, and I just feel like it really is right. But anyways, I wonder where Heather would be in this scenario. But like I was getting at, I feel like this is why the theory is not something that came into fruition, just because of the fact that they saw Heather as better potential. Maybe they were weighing out the odds and they saw that Heather would make for a better antagonist, and then they just didn't have any plans for Noah down the road, or they changed their minds and decided that they wanted to make him a satirical character. I don't really know what the deal was there, because there's a lot of different factors that go into deciding what placement somebody gets. You know, it's all about the potential that the writers think they have, and if they have the room for them in the elimination order to go farther, because there's a lot of characters, yeah, I know for me as somebody who likes to write different my ways and stuff like that, there's a lot of different characters that you want to go far, but you just can't make it happen, mostly because there just isn't the room for it. There's bigger characters that have bigger plots and bigger purposes, and you just can't bring in those characters that you want to bring in, but there's just no real storyline purpose for them, so it's unfortunate, but you just can't make it happen. I know Cove has that problem a lot. It's something that really honestly gets the better of us, because it's really difficult to come across those kind of things and really try to compromise and get all of the characters that you want as far as possible, because people do have to go at some point. So, you know, there are robberies, and it's unfortunate. And I feel like that's what happened with Noah here. I feel like they wanted him to go farther, but they realized that Heather was probably the best bet, and then they just didn't bring it back for other seasons. Or at least other seasons as a strategical character. Obviously, it seems like it was planned, but again, like I said, I do believe that this theory is probably true. It just doesn't make sense for them to give a label to somebody who does not deserve the label. But yeah, I think I've discussed this enough, so that's really all I have for you guys in this video. So please like the video if you did enjoy, comment down below what you think of the video, and in the comments down below, let me know what you guys think of this theory. Do you guys agree with this theory? Do you think that the theory is way off? I'm interested to see, so let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. The recent sub gain has been seriously ridiculous. I can't thank you guys enough for all of the support. I haven't been daily uploading anymore, and you guys are still killing it and everything like that, and the goal is to hit 8,000 by June 4th. Let's see if we can hit it. So again, if you haven't already, please subscribe. I hope you guys have yourselves a fantastic day, week, and life. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Peace out.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder, thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning.